Alright, welcome to Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. So before we get into the actual game itself, I wanted to talk about a few things. First off, this is kind of where Kingdom Hearts gets a little bit confusing. As for the story, it's really not that bad, but for people who played the game when they actually started coming out, like myself, it was pretty confusing because it came out on Game Boy, and obviously it's an alternate title, and you'd kind of expect the next game to be called Kingdom Hearts 2. So as it's an alternate title, people didn't really want to play it because they didn't think that it was important and it was on Game Boy, or, like myself, they never even heard that it existed. So it kind of just went under the radar, and the story is incredibly important. It might as well be Kingdom Hearts 2, but it's not. It's an alternate title. The alternate titles usually have some strange mechanics to them, have a little bit of different sort of styles to them. This one, we're going to do a partial playthrough rather than a full playthrough. Don't worry, you're going to get all of the story, you're going to get everything that's important, but instead of playing through the whole game, I'm going to show some of the gameplay just because I think it's interesting to talk about and kind of talk about, well, why I'm not going to be doing a full playthrough. I've played through the game before, multiple times. I just think that the gameplay itself, although interesting, is not really entertaining for very long. So, yeah. Also, to make this a little bit more confusing, when this game came out, it was 2 years after the first game, so 2004, and like I said, it came out on the Game Boy, but it was later remastered in 2008, which was 3 years after Kingdom Hearts 2. So for a lot of people who didn't even know that the Game Boy version was a thing, they played the remastered version, which was completely remodeled from the pixel graphics that it was, and it was given voice acting and all of this sort of stuff. So voices are going to sound a little bit different, heads up. But also, yeah, so as a fan who followed it, I played it later than I did Kingdom Hearts 2, and this, story is super important to know what's happening in Kingdom Hearts 2, and, yeah, it was definitely confusing for me, personally, which I'll get more into later, maybe, but yeah, hopefully you enjoy this, series, because it's mostly going to be cutscenes, which is why I'm talking a lot now, because I'm not going to be talking during the cutscenes. Yeah. I hope you enjoy it.
Along the road ahead lies something you need. However, in order to claim it, you must lose something that is dear to you.
Hey, you think it's okay to barge in?
But we gotta do it if we're gonna find the king.
The king? King Mickey's here?
Something just told me he'd be here, okay?
Really? 'Cause now that you mention it, I was kinda thinking the same thing.
Seriously? Me too. One look at this castle, and I just knew. Our very best friends. They're here.
Yup, guess great minds think alike.
Wait, hey, hold on. It can't be just a coincidence.
Oh no, Jiminy. You don't mean that.
Yep, I had it too. I had the exact same feeling.
Gorge, maybe it's contagious.
No, something's screwy. We gotta go take a look.
All right,
What? Where are you going?
that way, to the door. Are you scared?
Ah, don't be ridiculous. Come on, let's go, Goofy.
Hey, fellers, shouldn't we shut the door behind us before we go? Sora!
That's it. Who are you?
What? Ah, yes. Oh, yeah? I'll try some magic. Thunder! Come on. Thunder! Thunder! Come on. Blizzard! Fire! Why isn't it working?
I should think it's obvious. The moment you set foot in this castle, you forgot every spell and every ability you ever knew. In this place, to find is to lose, and to lose is to find. That is the way in Castle Oblivion.
Castle Oblivion?
Here you will meet people that you have known in the past, and you will meet people you miss.
I miss? Riku! You mean Riku's here?
If what you want is to find him,
What'd you do?
I merely sampled your memories, and from them, I made this. To reunite with those you hold dear.
What's this? A card?
It is a promise for the reunion you seek. Hold the card to open the door, and beyond it a new world. Proceed, Sora. To lose and claim anew, or to claim anew only to lose.
Come on. Let's go.
Alright, so here we have this sort of decision to pick this card. We only have one choice, but later we'll get multiple. Heads up, I'm kind of skipping past a lot of this. We go into Traverse Town, and a quick synopsis of what happens is we meet a lot of the same people that we met in Traverse Town, but they don't really remember us, and it's just a big tutorial area where it teaches you how to do the combat, and I don't think it's very interesting. The biggest note that you take out of it is that Sora meets them, and that they don't remember each other very well. That's it. Okay, so I know I said I was going to skip past most of this, but I do want to talk about a few things just about like the combat system and the sort of things that happen in this game. Because you sort of go through this castle and you kind of recreate a lot of the areas that you were in the first game in these cards that you use to create these rooms that look like that place. So we're in Traverse Town, but we're not actually in Traverse Town. Okay, so to talk about the combat system for a moment, it's completely different than how it used to be. Well, maybe not completely, but it holds some similarity, but it is very different. Well, in the old game, it was, in the first game, it was a real-time combat system. Now you kind of go into a, like, enemy scenario. I don't know how else to call it. It's sort of how in, like, Pokemon or something, you would fight a Pokemon and go into, like, a turn-based sort of thing. It's not turn-based. It's real-time. However, you're still sort of stuck in, like, a sequence and I don't know, a separate little arena where you fight the enemies, and it's kind of bizarre. Now, the cards are the way that you attack and use items and use spells and summons and all of that. You can get allies just kind of randomly during a fight. That's just something that happens. And then the attack cards, the higher number is better. Enemies can throw out like an attack, and if it's a low number, if you throw out a card that is higher, it'll cancel their attack, and your attack will go through. So there's kind of a lot of like weird nuanced stuff that happens, and it's a really weird, deep system, but it's also kind of awkward and very repetitive as you get through the game, so that's why I'm cutting out a lot of it. I just wanted to talk about it because I think it's very interesting and unique, and I've never really played a game that has it like this, has a system like this, so it's really kind of cool, even though it's bad. I also want to talk about the rooms for a moment, because the rooms also use cards to kind of go through these somewhat randomly generated rooms. So you kind of create the environment around you by throwing out a card to unlock a door, and it creates the room. And there's these different types of cards. The one I just used is a save room. So I go into a save room, I can create a room where there's a save point. There's also other cards where there's enemies, and they can all kind of do different things, like maybe have a lot of enemies in them, or fewer enemies, or make the enemy's attack hit harder or be weaker, or your attacks to be stronger or weaker. There's all sorts of different types of rooms. It's really kind of cool. It's a system that I think is very interesting and unique, and I like it, but it's also awkward. It's very awkward to use, and it kind of gets repetitive as well, because a lot of the rooms look the same, even though you see through one level, say you're going to Agrabah, it looks like the streets of Agrabah or whatever, but the exact layout will then be seen in another level that's like Atlantica or something. So yeah, it gets a little repetitive to see. Also, it's fairly repetitive because it's all the worlds that we've seen before, so none of them are very interesting, beyond, being a cool place that you like. Speaking of cool places that I like, I'm going to cut forward to the next cutscene, and then I'll show a little bit of one of the worlds that I actually like, my favorite world in Kingdom Hearts, and talk about like the story that happens in between levels. So yeah.
Well, Sora, did you enjoy meeting your memories?
Yeah, it was good to see everyone. But what do you really want from me?
What do you have to give?
Hello.
What do you want?
No hogging the hero.
Then perhaps you'd like to test him.
Perhaps I would. My show now, Keyblade Master. Who am I? Oh, my name's Axel. Got it memorized?
Sure.
Good. You're a quick learner. So, Sora, now that we're getting to know each other better, don't you go off and die on me now.
Alright, having a boss fight here. I'm going to show this one. I'm not going to show any of the other, unique boss fights. Technically, this is my second boss fight, which is something I want to talk about a little bit, because we're revisiting all the same Disney worlds that we did before. The boss fights in them are not unique. They're the same ones that we did before, so I'm just, not going to show any of that. So this one, though, is unique, and for the unique ones, and the new ones, I'm not going to show all of them, and I don't really feel bad about not showing them because of reasons. But this one I will show, just to kind of show you one of the boss fights with this card system, because I think it's kind of interesting. What just happened just there in that moment, kind of a fun, interesting mechanic to the game is the sort of way you can stack attacks. In the top left, I have a stacked 3 cards together to equal 8, which will make it harder for him to cancel my attack. And when they do something similar, you can also stack a bunch of cards, or you can use a 0. For some reason, a 0 will always cancel another card's attack. But because while that 0 is out there, they can also cancel yours, so it's sort of risky to do sometimes, but it's a good way to stop these big attacks that bosses do. So boss fights can kind of have pretty fun dynamic to them with this system. Honestly, I do like most of the boss fights in this game. Both thematically and gameplay-wise, I think they're really fun and interesting, and kind of cool back and forth that you can have. You can see right there, Donald just healed the enemy because he's got a fire element to him, so you gotta be careful about things like that. The spells in this game, which I'm not gonna show off, but the spells are completely broken. They're so strong. Just stacking a bunch of spells together and shooting them at the bad guys, but you definitely want to be careful. Which enemy is immune to what, because sometimes you end up just doing a big old fireball and healing them like that happened a little bit ago. But yeah, we're just about at the end of this fight, so I will stop talking.
I'll make it all stop. Give me a break.
Another one? What's it do?
Kinda looks like the card you used when you made Traverse Town.
Then I guess we're gonna need it to keep going.
That's right.
Outside!
Did you really think after that introduction I would give up oh so easily?
You were testing us.
And you passed. Congratulations, Sora. You're ready now. Ready to take on Castle Oblivion. You will need to follow your memories. Trust what you remember and seek what you forget. Then you will find someone very special.
You mean King Mickey and Riku?
You will just have to give some more thought to who it is that's most important to you. Our most precious memories lie so deep within our hearts that they're out of reach. But I'm sure that you can find yours, Sora.
Why me?
You have lost sight of the light within the darkness, and it seems that you've forgotten that you forgot.
The light within darkness?
Would you like me to give you a hint?
Sora, do you need it?
I'm gonna figure it out for myself. If you're in my way,
Go worry, Sora. We'll protect you.
Good answer. Just what I'd expect from the Keyblade Master. But be forewarned. When your sleeping memories awaken, you may no longer be who you are now.
What's wrong, Jiminy?
Well, you see, what Axel said back there worries me. What could he have meant by, you may no longer be who you are?
I may no longer be me. How can I be anyone else?
Of course. Still, you can't be too careful.
Yep. Feels like just about anything could happen here in Castle Castle Oblivion. Oh, yeah. Now I remember.
We'll be okay. Whatever it is they're cooking up, we'll be able to handle it together.
Course we will. Like at that creepy castle we explored together. The one with all those weird contraptions.
When was that?
I can't remember. What was it called?
Gorge. Oh, it was, Holly? Holler? Sorry, I can't remember.
What? Stop goofing around.
Goofy, sure you didn't make it up?
I don't think so.
Man, some strange stuff is happening here in Castle Oblivion. For some reason, Sora and Donald couldn't remember Hollow Bastion, the castle in Hollow Bastion, for some reason. So, kind of interesting, kind of weird. Alright, so we're going to go into one of the worlds. You can kind of pick which one you want to go through, and the order that you want to go through them, which is kind of interesting and I think pretty fun. You can get the ones that you don't like out of the way if you want to. It doesn't really matter what order you do them, and the worlds are pretty samey. The stories themselves are weird, so I'll talk about that as I get into it. But yeah, I don't think they're important. These worlds, these segments that you go through, they don't matter for the story at all. Which is why I don't feel bad about cutting any of this out or not showing it. I'm just going to be showing all of the cutscenes and everything, which is the only important thing with the stories, because these little segments where you go through the Disney worlds, they don't matter. They kind of didn't matter in Kingdom Hearts 1 either. They were a little bit fluffy, but like at least Sora learns a lesson or made some friends and kind of has a little bit of, futuristic goal that he's trying to reach even while he's at these places. In this one, you kind of get a little taster of what the story was like in Kingdom Hearts 1, but they're always just a little bit different and kind of have themes around like memories. But the only interaction that's kind of important is the fact that Sora, Donald, and Goofy do not remember any of the characters, even though they've already met them, and none of the characters remember them. That's pretty much it. That's the only thing that's important. Other than that, you're kind of just going through the same story with a slightly different theme. So that's why I'm cutting a lot of these out, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit and just... yeah. Alright. Jack Skellington. What a cool guy. Alright. I'll cut through the rest of it. And from now on, we're just going to be watching cutscenes. Yeah.
Huh? What's the matter?
It's that creepy castle that I was talking about earlier. I know I didn't imagine it. 'Cause that was the castle where Sora had to use the Keyblade to free Kairi's heart. Then he just disappeared, and I was so worried. How could I ever forget that?
Oh, it was when I turned into a Heartless. Wait, that happened in a castle?
You forgot that? 'Cause I remember perfectly.
Then what's it called?
That's easy, it was. Somebody help me. Is it in your journal?
Every word. I finished the first volume right before we got to this castle. Now then, if I can just find it. Oh, here we go. Let's have a look. Oh, how could it be?
What's the matter?
Oh, my entries, they're gone. Every page is blank.
What do we do?
How could this have happened? I'm so careful with the journals. All that hard work is gone.
The journal's blank. What's going on?
Something's screwy. Journal pages don't trust on us.
What if it's more things?
Huh?
Goofy was telling us about another castle we'd been to, but none of us really remembers it. Do you think? Could it be that we don't remember because we're losing our memories?
Losing our memories?
Hold on. Remember what that mystery fella said? In this place, to find is to lose, and to lose is to find. It must have been our memories he was talking about losing.
So if we keep going, we'll lose more. Guess it really is Castle Oblivion.
So the higher we go, the more we'll forget. Does that mean everything and everybody will be forgotten?
Riku and Kairi too.
Do you want to go back?
Don't worry, fellers. We might forget about where we've been or what things we've seen, but we won't forget who our friends are.
I don't know.
Come on, Sora. When you turned into a Heartless, did you forget about me and Donald?
Of course I didn't.
There you go. No matter what happens, you won't forget your friends.
Oh. You're right. Thank you, Goofy.
So if there's nothing here that can make you forget about your friends, then we have nothing to be scared of. Let's go!
But when I turned into a Heartless, who was the one who took forever to notice and kept clobbering me?
How come you couldn't forget about that? I hope the kid is gonna be okay.
Why bring that up?
I had to be sure that I hadn't forgotten him.
How'd that go for you?
Good. I remembered where I had trust to find the king.
I remember that too. The king helped save everything by staying on the other side of the door to darkness, I think.
You got it, Goofy.
And me? I'm looking for Riku. He was with the king when the door closed. I guess there's no way we'll forget the most important memories.
That's good, 'cause I don't want to forget.
You seem pretty intrigued by this Sora kid.
Are you telling me you're not Larxene?
Haven't decided yet. I think what intrigues me more is what you see in him.
There was a time he became a Heartless. And if one becomes a Heartless...
They lose their minds and their feelings. They're consumed by the darkness.
Right, but not Sora. He held on to his feelings even as a Heartless. And there's only one other man who's been able to do just that.
It's the strength of his heart. That's what interests you. Why the Keyblade shows Sora's heart.
To unlock the mysteries of the heart. Isn't that the organization's mission?
Okay, so we're sort of learning that they're probably losing their memories. Kind of a serious sort of plot line to have for these games that are fairly lighthearted and kind of silly in a lot of ways, you know. I think they've got some, like, deeper sort of, threats, I guess you could call it. These sort of plots that are driving the narrative. The first game's got a lot of manipulation from these bad guys. I mean, that's kind of a continuing theme, but this one's obviously got like some of the memory loss, which is like a real serious thing that happens to people, and it's it's a scary thing. So definitely makes the overall story pretty intriguing. Kind of makes you wonder what's going on. I like it, man. Alright, I think I'm going to leave it there for this episode. We get a little tease of some of the bad guys and that they're trying to do something nefarious. I don't know really how else to say it without spoiling things. We've got some of the threat of these people trying to do something with Sora and that they're losing their memories. Pretty serious plot. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Alright, see ya. Bye.